So today I'll be reviewing the Nikon Z9. By the way, it's an initial look, not a full review. Get back to the video again. I'll take a look at it, how it performs, and this is just a 40mm f2, relatively new lens and very affordable Nikon series. Just testing out. My subject is Ryuki here. She's actually dressing up now, and we'll see how does this perform, in the studio itself. So far, have fun with it. I think it's quite good. I will talk about it later in a proper video. So today we'll be doing the photo shoot with the Z9 as I showed just now, and we're going to use wave flash. As you can see, it's firing now. So we'll see how this photo shoot goes, and I'll share you my experience after this. And this is Ryuki again. Come say hi. Hi. She's very dark now, but it's okay. We'll fix her up later. See you guys later in the studio itself. Welcome back to studios, and I think you saw the video just now. So I did a photo shoot using the Nikon Z9 and the 40mm f2 here with Ryuki. I did a collaboration shoot with her, and we are going to publish a photo book for Genshin Impact cosplays. So if you're interested to buy such a photo book, head down to the link below in my description and purchase the book itself. But if not, stay on for the Nikon Z9. This is an initial look, not a full review. And that's because I only got this camera today morning. So still testing the camera out and unsure whether should I keep the Nikon system or not. Just to note that I'm a Canon and Sony user. Canon is my wife's system. Sony is my own system. The R3 is something that I share between my wife and me. But the Nikon is a brand new system because, I own both of the other flagships, and I was thinking whether should I try out the Nikon itself to see whether I will jump ship or not, or maybe keep it for reviews, but not too sure. Today it's just an initial look, and let's see what I'll talk about today. So I will just share you my experience using it in the shoot just now. Now, just to note, I have not read the manual yet. I have not dive in very deeply into the camera yet. There are still some functions I do not know how to activate, but by and large I kind of got used to things like finding the items and stuff. There are still things that I don't quite understand. Like there's one, if you can help me, maybe I need some time to go and search, is how do I use subject detection. After that, when I shoot the shot, I want to straight away focus on the eye to take a look at the sharpness. I noticed that on the Canon and the Sony, after using the eye detection or subject detection, I take the shot already. When I press zoom, it will just zoom onto the eye itself. But for the Z9, when I'm using the area, when I zoom, it zooms into the center of the screen and not on the eye. So I'm not too sure. So if somebody knows how to, when you are playing back the photo after using eye detection and zoom on straight the eye, just write down in the comments below. That's the only thing I need help. Or I go and look at the manual later. But other than that, let's talk about the Z9 today. So firstly, the Z9 is a relatively big camera. But when you put it next to the R3, it isn't that big, about the same. But it is relatively heavy. So I have a weighing machine here, and it's not on now, but because I just weighed it just now. The Z9, I believe, is about 1,350 or 1,340, about there. The R3 is about 1,050, 1,040. And then the A1 is about 750. So the weight difference is really 300 grams, 300 grams. So 300 grams more than the A1, 300 grams more than the R3, 600 grams more than the A1. So it is more than half a kg, almost twice the weight of the A1 with batteries and memory card loaded. So that's something to note. The Z9 is quite a beefy and heavy camera, but that comes with some perks. Firstly, I would say when it comes to the grip, the R3 grip is good. The Z9 grip is pretty much as good, if not maybe just slightly better. But I think that's not important. The most important part is the vertical grip is better. The vertical grip on the Z9 feels the same as the standard grip, while the vertical grip on the R3 feels different. It feels very shallow. And the Z9 really feels hefty and solid body. The R3 feels light, but it feels like modern material kind of build. So that's pretty much the difference. And when I was using in the studio itself, I used the portrait grip a few times, and it is quite enjoyable to use this portrait grip compared to the R3 itself. And then the next thing I want to talk about is when it comes to the back functions itself. The amount of buttons on the Z9 is significantly more than even the R3. And the issue, if you ask me, is that it lacks the third dial. Even though it has so many buttons, it lacks the third dial. So ISO requires you pressing a button and then turning a dial. While the other flagship cameras like the A1 and the R3 allows you to map ISO, aperture and shutter to individual dials, which if you are shooting in the studio or adjusting the settings is a lot quicker. But these are things that you don't do all the time, so maybe it's not a big deal. But the amount of buttons on the Z9 is very impressive. And not only that, the Z9 buttons all light up. So let me show you. I'm just turning away from the light. Not sure if you can see it. But the Z9 buttons all light up. So what it means that when I was doing my studio shoot, it is very dark other than the subject that's been lit up. The Z9 allows me to easily see my buttons quite clearly to control the camera itself. Because I have not got used to the camera and have muscle memory set in, but the buttons light up and I could use it quite easily. Now, the only thing I want to say is that the 4-way pad here is very small, hard to press, and it feels really weird pressing it. I do prefer the dials, the back dial on both of these cameras, and the Sony one, it has even a 4-way and a back dial integrate to each other. I think that's the best combination. But other than that, just a bit weird here. But okay, there's buttons. When it comes to the screen itself, I also do enjoy the Z9 screen a lot because I'm mainly using it for portraiture. So it can flip sideways, no big deal. I mean, everybody can do it. You can flip 90 degrees up, still the same. But most importantly, you can flip a full 90 degrees in portrait. This is big deal if you ask me. Now, most cameras will probably give you 45 degrees, 45 degrees, but this is a full 90 degrees upwards. And I have yet to actually fully test it, but even in the studio just now when I was doing low down shots, this is a saver. I don't need to kiss the floor to take the shot. So, good thing here. And compared to the other, I would say as the other makers' flagship, I would say as this is my preferred type of tilting screen if I'm doing portraiture itself. Now that is of course the back screen. Now when it comes to the EVF, people did say that the EVF has lower latency, feels faster. I have to say I agree when it comes to the perceived speed. It feels more responsive than both of these. It feels like there's totally no lag, but so does R3, and even the A1 lag is very minimal. So I have to probably do a more extensive test in the future to really confirm whether the EVF is it superior or not. But when it comes to actually the resolution of the EVF, I did notice that I can't tell the difference. I mean, unless I stare really hard at the EVF itself and the image, probably there's no difference at all. So probably, the resolution here at 3 megapixels seems pretty okay to me. But I think the responsiveness, especially when you're talking about pro-grade cameras that shoot 20-30 FPS, is probably more important than the resolution itself. Now, let me think. Yes, there's one more thing I would say is that when it comes to interface, the boot up time of the Z9 is very impressively fast. Let me show you. 3, 2, 1. Notice that the Z9 boots up really quick. One more time. With the R3. 3, 2, 1. See, the Z9 boots up almost instantaneously. Now, if you actually compare to the A1, it's even more huge of a difference. 3, 2, 1. Look, the difference is significant. Even I give Sony a head start, it's still slightly slower. So the boot up time of the Z9 is impressively fast, really impressively fast. It feels very similar to what you see in the old DSLR. So if you are the type like to on and off your camera, the Z9 allows you to do it without almost any penalty at all. Now, let me think. Is there any more things I have to talk about the Z9 when it comes to general ergonomics? And I guess that's about it. At least these are all the things I experienced today when I was doing a photo shoot with Ryuki. So this is the experience I have using the Z9. Now, of course, beyond the experience, I did try some fun tests. Image stabilization wise, at least for now, my initial test is that the Canon's image stabilization is better than the Z9's. I did it at 1/10 of a shutter. The Z9's is about 2 keepers, while the R3 gave me 4 keepers at 1/10 of a shutter at 40mm. So far, the Z9 seems to be lousier than the R3 when it comes to image stabilization. I think the Z9 is very similar to the Alpha one, while the R3 is just a league of its own when it comes to image stabilization. Okay, and when it comes to autofocus, so far this is how I will rate it for the purpose of portraiture. Okay, The R3 is my preferred camera when I do portraiture. When it comes to autofocus, the Z9 is second, and the Alpha 1 is last. And it all boils down to one parameter, and that is close-up portraiture. Shooting at relatively, say, shallow depth of field like f2.8 or f2. Both of these cameras performs fantastically well when it comes to shooting like say 40mm f2. When you do a half body shot, you get sharp photos. The A1, for some reason, when you do half body shot in portrait mode, or maybe one side of a body shot in landscape mode, when you go close with a shallow depth of field lens like a f2 50mm lens, it just doesn't want to focus on the eye, and you focus on things like lashes and hair. It does mean that the A1 is very sensitive, but it's sensitive in the wrong way. While the R3 and the Z9 is correct, they try to focus on the iris itself and gives me a more pleasant outcome. So far, I think the R3 feels more stable, but that may be because I use it for many shoots. And the Z9 with the 40mm f2 here seems to perform pretty well. I mean, for every 10 shots, maybe one shot will just focus on the lashes. Way lower than my Sony. I mean, Sony is probably like 50% time. It will focus on lash if I go close enough. So that's something to note. So this is my experience, and I do a lot of half body shots, 1/3 shot, or even head shots. And just the Sony tends to give me that kind of effect. And I don't shoot f8 all the time. I mean, I shoot like f2, f2.8, f1.4 sometimes also. The Sony just gives me that weird autofocus on the front of the eye. But yeah, that's it for autofocus. When it comes to image quality, I have no images to show you, only one here that is processed, and that's because the rest of the photos are being processed, and I don't think it's fair to show any more photos because I have yet to fully test out the camera. I probably want to try it out with a lot more photo shoots before I come to a conclusion itself. And that's really about it. I mean, this is all the time I have with my Z9. It's turning out to be a pretty awesome camera if you ask me. There are many things for portraiture that's really nice, like the flip screen, the light up buttons, but it's very good for nighttime. And the vertical grip, which is really nice to use. And most importantly, an autofocus that not so sensitive to lashes and hair, unlike the A1. So I do enjoy it a lot for today's shoot with the Z9 itself, and I have yet to read the manual. But some controls I probably have to find out more. Other than that, I think that I will do a full review in about a week's time. So if you are looking for a full review, you can ask me. And if you are looking for opinions between 3 of these flagships, you also can put down below. Now I have to tell you the truth that I don't have time to test every single permutation of stuff. And when I do photo shoots with people, it is of course a trade with others. So there's a limited amount of things I can test. So if the test is something that I think is useful, and I would try it out, bring the 2 cameras and try it out. But if not, probably do a full coverage of the Z9 in a week's time, and then maybe by then I have a lens or 2 more and try it out so that I could get a better understanding of the system itself. And also I got the FTZ2, so probably try out with editing lens too. And really that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this short little initial look of the Nikon Z9. Flagship for Nikon camera, long time coming, but I can imagine that many people are excited. By the way, in Singapore, there may still be stocks because I heard that there are some units that are coming in like today, which is a few hours back. So one of the retailers messaged me and said that they have a stock, but I already purchased mine. So if you are in Singapore looking for a Nikon Z9, try to message every single retailer. Maybe there's something left. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.